episode number 214.
I also say to business owners, business credit isn't just about your reputation. You also need to think about using business credit to protect your business.
Welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff, where we talk about life, dreams, social media, and business.
Well, hello and welcome to the Be Real Show with Travis Too Tall and Huff. Folks, I'm fired up today, and after this show, you'll probably get your credit in a better place, which we all need. And that's going to be thanks to our featured guest, Gerri Detweiler. Gerri, are you ready to be real?
I am, absolutely.
Let's do this. Gerri has more than 20 years of experience, folks, in guiding individuals through the confusing world of credit, folks, as we all know, and she has earned a reputation as helping people, especially in the small business, get credit and keep that credit and get better credit. And so she serves right now as the education director for NAV, which is the only site right now, folks, to give business owners a free access to their credit reports from the three major commercial credit bureaus, as well as obviously tools and tips and things like that to help businesses and companies stay more financially fit. As we know, if you don't got money, you're going to be out of business. So she's also a prolific writer. She's done a lot of different contributions to allbusiness.com, Forbes, Home Business Magazine. And basically, folks, she's been featured on every single publication, ABC News, CBS News, etc. So I'm just so excited to have you on the show today. Pumped. How's your day going today first?
My day is going great, and I'm so glad to talk with you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how did you get all these opportunities? First off, before we get into diving into the credit and business and NAV, and how did you get all these opportunities to regularly, contribute on some of these columns and articles? Because I think a lot of people want to learn how to become an expert in their industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've done it.
I have. And I always say to everyone who says to me, I want to write a book, I say, do it. You need a book. Even if you're not going to sell a lot of books, having a book opens up so many opportunities, whether it's media or speaking or even just getting your foot in the door. So I'm always very supportive of authors who want to get their work out in the world. And in my case, I literally fell into it. I was terrified of public speaking, but I ended up having no choice but to get in front of audiences, get on news stories. And over time, I grew to actually love it. So I even hosted my own radio show for about 3 years on a weekly basis. And, I think that's just part of life, that sometimes the things that scare us the most, that are the hardest, are sometimes the best things for us.
Right. And if you're not stepping your game up, folks, like I always talk about, and I've been, getting to that as the game changer and been on a lot of different podcasts of mindset. The point is, folks, in our Be Real show is that you got to be real with where you're at in life, right? And especially when it comes to your credit, because we're going to talk about that. My dad always taught me a real simple saying, folks. It's, if you spend more than you make, you're going to be in a problem. It doesn't matter what level you're at, right? And so I think that's probably happening all the time to people out there, especially as entrepreneurs and business owners. We want to do new things. We want to grow. And then next thing you know, our credit's in a situation where we might not qualify for some opportunities if we needed to extend our credit lines, et cetera, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see business owners make, Travis, is they start out with their personal credit, which makes sense, because if you don't have access to business credit, you haven't really established a business, maybe you don't have revenues in the business or time in business, that may be what you do. But you end up using those credit cards, maybe maxing them out, and maybe you're making the payments on time each month, but you have very high balances, your credit scores go down, and then as your business grows and you try to find other opportunities, your credit scores are holding you back. So a very, very simple place that I often start with entrepreneurs is, hey, if you're going to use credit cards in your business, go ahead and get a small business credit card. Many of them, not all, but many of them don't report to your personal credit. As long as you pay the bills, it won't show up on your personal credit. So if there's a balance there, it's not going to bring down your personal credit scores. And that way you can separate your business and personal credit from the very beginning.
Interesting. Well, I'm going to take you folks down my journey because in 2009, I bought a house at the worst time. It closed in January of 2009. And I also started my business in June of 2009. So 2009 was a crazy year. As you know, the recession, the collapse of the real estate industry. My house that was worth $286,000 was now worth $150,000 or $60,000, folks. I held on for a few years and I got my credit killed in a way only because of this. Folks, I decided to make a short sell. And that situation sucked because I put a lot of money into the house as well as my down payment. However, it was a tough thing on my credit, and I started a business at the worst time. So Gerri, I never wanted to extend credit anywhere, right? Additionally, for my business, I said, I'm going to just make this happen, bootstrapping it, get the checks, put them in the bank, and then keep on growing, right? And so, but then over time, over the last 11 years that we've been in business, I've slowly got myself into a much better place with credit where I went from like a 600 credit score to closer to 800, over time. But I've never extended a business credit line on our business. And so I'm curious, is that a negative? I mean, can you tell me maybe if someone was in my situation that has never extended a business credit, I've used my personal credit card that I use in the business and I just pay it off we actually send a daily payment over to them, thanks to Citibank. But the point is, I got hurt in the credit crunch. So I decided I'm not going to use my credit cards at all for my personal lifestyle. I'm going to live on my cash. I'm going to live on the things that I have. I go to the bank and get cash, folks, because cash is different than your credit card in that when you swipe that dang card, you can put $500 on it in a second. When you got to pull out 5 $100 bills or a bunch of 20s, hey, it feels different, right? So I love shopping with cash personally, but the point is, at the end of the day, folks, if you don't have credit, you're going to be in a problem, right, Gerri?
Yeah. And look, I'm not going to knock what you did. And I feel for you. 2009 was horrific when it comes to credit. It was just an awful, awful time. And congrats to you for starting a business and getting through that and rebuilding your credit. So good job.
Thank you.
But I do, in the business side, there are a variety of different types of businesses with different needs for credit and growth. And let me give you a quick example, Travis. I was on a webinar with accountants. And one of them reached out to me after the webinar and she said, I have my accounting business. It's doing well, but on the side, I sell Pandora jewelry. And there's a local jeweler who's going out of business and I can buy his inventory. But she needed several $100,000 overnight in order to buy that before someone else did. Right. And so that's, credit isn't always bad. Sometimes it's an opportunity. And if you haven't laid the groundwork, then you're stuck scrambling. If you're stuck scrambling, then you will have to max out your personal credit cards and then your credit scores will be impacted by that. So what I try to encourage entrepreneurs is to think a little bit ahead and look at credit as another tool for your business. It's a tool for improving cash flow. It's a tool for getting better opportunities. And by building business credit early in your business, you could probably borrow without impacting your personal credit scores over time. It's not something that happens overnight, but over time, you can borrow without impacting your personal credit and truly separate your business and personal credit.
Right. So in a situation like mine, say someone did work themselves out of it and say now we're back in a better situation and we don't necessarily need to extend credit. I've always heard get credit now and then because you never know when the tough times are. So I'm thinking is now the time to extend some credit even if you don't use that credit?
I do think it's actually a smart move, and two reasons. One is, first of all, we've got the issue of potential recession at some point. Who knows when that will come? Who knows? But you and I went through it, right? We lived it. We experienced it. We don't want to go there again. Right. So being prepared is very helpful. The second thing is your business can have its own business credit scores, just like you personally have your own personal credit scores. Gotcha. And those take time to build just like your personal credit. And I'm guessing, Travis, if we went and tried to pull your business credit, it wouldn't show much right now because you're not doing anything with it.
Yeah, no, we haven't done anything.
So very simple things you could do is get a business credit card that reports to commercial credit agencies, and many of them do. I have a list of those. Get a vendor account. So you do business with a company like Uline or Granger or Quill or Summa Office Supplies. They'll let you buy things on net 30 terms, which means you have 30 days to pay, and your payment history helps build your credit rating. And then you've got this. And it's not just about borrowing because anyone can check business credit. It's not like personal credit where there's limits on who can check it. anyone could check it. So you could have a potential partner. You could have a really big advertiser who's, scoping you out as a potential partner. You could have, maybe you need to get some kind of insurance for your business, errors and omissions insurance, or some kind of liability insurance, et cetera. Those check business credit. So there's a variety of ways it could impact your business, even if you aren't planning to immediately borrow.
I'm just curious. It's fascinating, folks. I'm excited to have you on the show today because, I'm now in a place, folks, where I'm in a lot better place. I'm in a lot better place than I was in 2009, and it took a lot of work. It wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight, and I got lucky along the way. I made some great investments along the way, but the bottom line is, folks, I'm really seriously thinking about this. My business itself doesn't have any credit. It doesn't. I know it because we basically have never taken a credit card, even though they've sent a million different ones to the office for our business to sign up from every single dang vendor. American Express, I can't tell you how many I've torn up over the years. But
they want you as a customer.
Oh yeah, because they know
doing something right.
I make daily payments, folks. I make daily payments on my credit card. So when you're paying daily to these guys, they know and they can sniff that out. So. On my personal side, but it does flow through to my business. So I'm sure they know, hey, this is the owner. He's making daily payments. Let's get his business credit. So even if you don't use this credit, it's okay just to keep it. Just extend a credit line or maybe even start using it for certain things.
Yeah, I don't want to see people going into debt for things that they don't need, right? So I always say, if you're going to use the card, use it for things you'd buy anyway. Pay it in full to avoid interest. Business credit cards often have very lucrative rewards, whether it's cash back or travel rewards. You pay in full, you're getting something for nothing.
Gotcha.
Same thing with these vendor accounts. You buy things that, Keurig cups for your office or copy paper or shipping supplies, something like that. You'd buy it and pay it off quickly in order to build that credit rating. And there, Travis, just to back this up, I won't get too geeky here, but there was a Federal Reserve report, and they found that about half of all small business owners use either just business credit or a combination of business and personal credit to get financing. So I think both are important. At NAV, like you mentioned, we're the only place you can see your business credit reports for free. And we also show personal credit because both are very important. And you've done a great job on the personal side. Now it's time to think about building some business credit as well.
Yeah, I love this idea. I'm going to talk to my pops, who's my accountant, and this is a great idea, even just to have it. Yeah, just to have it, as well as just to even, maybe someone's scoping us out and wants to buy us. And they're like, oh, this company has no goddamn credit. Even though I know T Huff does, but I don't know that the business does. So it's interesting. Yeah, I'm very curious into this, folks.
And can I flip it for you one other way too?
Sure.
I was self-employed for over a decade myself, and cash flow was always an issue. So I had some really big clients, names you'd recognize in the financial services industry, and they expected me to pay my credit card, in full or pay it on time every 30 days. But then they would, if I did work for them, sometimes they would take 30, 60, 90 days to pay me.
Yes.
Not uncommon. And I had one business partner who had a great reputation in the industry, was well known, had a huge mailing list. We got into a joint project, and bottom line is he never paid me at all for my work. And I lost at least $40,000 in commissions that I was owed. So I also say to business owners, business credit isn't just about your reputation. You also need to think about using business credit to protect your business. Because if you're like me, I was doing work, and granted, I didn't lend him money, but I was lending him my time and my expertise.
Right.
And that was something of value. And so if you do anything for a customer, a client where you don't get paid up front, you're a lender.
Yes,
and
I'm a lender.
What a lender,
I'm a damn lender.
What do lenders do? They check business credit. So you as a business owner can check business credit. So if you're thinking about going into business with a partner, you can't check their personal credit. They'd have to share it with you. There's restrictions on that, but you absolutely could check their business credit. And if you see red flags, you might want to think about how you want to structure that to protect yourself.
That's very smart. Yeah, we really try to. So we have two lines of business. We have the agencies, in the advertising agency world, everyone gets paid late, right?
Yep.
Everyone's getting paid late in the advertising agency world. Doesn't matter who you are, the biggest ones to the smallest ones. Everyone kind of gets paid late. The media runs, and then you get paid later. So yeah, that business is a great business. It's one of the best things that's ever happened to us. However, folks, I'm a lender. And then on my other business, I basically have clients on credit card. You know what I mean? So then we have the
Right.
credit card secure. So then at that point, that's the cash flow that comes in on the 1st and the 15th every month to our business folks. We charge the cards and campaigns that are going live that are direct customers, that are actually, we're dealing with them directly, not through a mediary or through an agency.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And so that's actually where I'm thinking, shit, to be transparent with you folks, I've been the lender. So whenever the business needs money, T Huff just ponies up and lends the business money. You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I've done it, Gerri, because to avoid all
Very
interest
common.
rates, you know what I mean? Because I obviously
Yep.
do believe in the business. And I know that in certain situations, we just have like kind of in fourth quarter, the agencies pay late too. That's another thing. So it's very common in the advertising agency business for some crazy reason, folks, right around the last week of December. They end up sending all those checks in the end of January, but they're dated with December dates. Why do you think that is, folks? Just for taxes and for cash flow. But the point is that they're doing something. It happens. I've seen it when I worked in the TV business. I see it when I worked. I mean, it's just crazy. So something about that last week of December, they do something, with the agency, and then they send the checks 3-4 weeks later. But the point is, yes, Gerri, you're right. I am a lender, and I need to, possibly just think about, where my situation is. Is there other things outside of a credit card that people can do? I mean, obviously every situation is different. Someone that needs, 300,000-400,000, they're not probably running on a credit card, right?
Correct. So this sort of the stair step to start building business credit, the two things to do are to get a business credit card that reports to the business credit agencies, and then also get vendor accounts that report as well.
Gotcha.
And then once you've started to establish your business, then I encourage business owners to look into a line of credit or some kind of working capital.
Gotcha.
It will vary depending on your business. Some businesses need equipment leases because they need a truck or they need machinery. They have a landscaping business, and the things you have to buy to run a landscaping business are not cheap.
Right.
So there's a variety of different types of financing that come into play. But the biggest point I want to make is that if you wait until you need the money, you will probably pay more for it.
Gotcha.
Because the faster you get it, the higher cost it usually is. And one thing that's really interesting about business credit is that there's no uniform requirement that they disclose to you an APR. So when you and I go shopping for a car loan or a mortgage or a credit card, we look at the APR, right? So we can compare the rate that it's going to cost us.
Right.
You don't have to show you that on business credit. So
interesting.
They can call it all kinds of things. Many times they'll disclose it as a fee, and you don't really know what it costs. So an example is very popular right now. If you're a PayPal seller, you'll get offered financing from them.
Right.
And they'll give you a chart and it will tell you the fees. But then if you translate that to an interest rate, the interest rate might be 25%. It might be 30%.
Wow.
And in that case, you might say, I have a credit card in my wallet that offers me 16%. Maybe I should use that instead. You have to at least be able to compare so you can make a better decision.
Right. And so that's why I've always used my Citibank, what is it? I'm looking at it right now. I'm pulling it out here. My American Airlines Advantage card. And I pay $100 per year, and I get all these airline miles, and I just get a rack up airlines. I've gone to Italy, Miami, Hawaii, completely free, as far as like not free, but I mean, obviously using the transactions you were already going to use in your regular bank account, et cetera. And then we just send an automatic payment every day to Citibank.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense, folks, right? You just kind of have that combination. But the point is there's a lot of perks too for these things, right? But since I started this card and really putting in my finances, Gerri, I have not been charged any interest, folks.
Good for you.
$1 of interest. I look at my statements, every single statement, to make sure when I do my taxes and get ready for my pops' company, I make sure, because I'm actually an accountant at heart. My dad raised me to be an accountant, but I decided to do my own business. The point is, folks, is that, hey, when you don't get any interest, and you can rack up lots of miles and go on a fun trip somewhere, your wife's going to like it. Your family's going to like you more. And you know what? At the end of the day, it creates discipline. And so that's what it created for me, is the discipline to make those daily payments. I know some people wait and they pay it all at once, but for me, folks, I think it's easier daily, because you know what? A big chunk of cash comes out of your pocket. You're like, oh my God. But if you're paying $300 payments a day, it doesn't seem like as much for some reason, right?
Yeah. And I love the idea that you found something that works for you, because I know a lot of business owners, because they're afraid of getting into debt, they'll just use a business debit card, but that's the only type of plastic that it isn't in federal law. There's no requirement that if it's used fraudulently that they make you whole.
Oh,
Like they
really?
do have to with a credit card or even with a personal debit card. And
Yes.
so I love the fact that you've taken the discipline of, you've essentially turned your credit card into a debit card, right? Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
pay it off as soon as you make the purchase, and then you're getting all the benefits. You're getting the float if you need it, and
Oh,
it's
yes,
a win-win
absolutely.
for you.
It's a nice float just in case, like you said, if someone's not paying a little later, I'm paying it over time. So I have a little wait time to come in, because each day, folks, there's a new check popping up, from these agencies possibly or something, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
or obviously a customer that we've said, hey, you know what, it's okay. We'll extend your net 30 with us, or net 60, to make it easier for you. But, yeah, I really appreciate your value today, because I think that I need to do these things. I'm going to do these things, folks. That's the discipline I have. And so the credit is going to be this, folks. You got to get a business credit card outside of your personal. And also you need to figure out a way to get some vendor accounts before you even get into that line of credit, because you might not need the line of credit, but at least if you have those two things, that shows that your business is legit, and you pay your bills, and you do business with good people. And I think people like to see that. So, but now, my friend, we're about to take you into our top 10. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Apple or Android?
I use both.
Oh, wow. That's the first. Which device do you use both on?
Well, I guess I'm saying I use a Mac for work,
Okay.
and then I use a Android phone. So
nice.
do you mean I don't use an iPhone?
Right.
Don't do that, but
That's cool. That's cool. That's awesome that you like both. I mean, that's fun that you can, because they're both kind of different operating.
I got forced into it from work, and I have to say I love my Mac. So one of these days I'm probably gonna break down and get an iPhone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. The iPhone and they're both good. You know what I mean? As far as that goes, they're all good phones. My dad has the Android one. It's all legit. They're all really well made. But yeah, it's fun that you like both. Netflix or YouTube?
I'd say YouTube. I don't watch a lot of TV, so I tend to be a podcast listener, to be honest.
Awesome.
But I love them. But I do check out YouTube videos from time to time.
Mm-hmm. What about Instagram or Facebook?
Man, I'd like to quit them both because all the privacy issues, honestly. Sure. But I use Facebook a lot for work, for groups that I belong to professionally.
Oh, okay. For groups. Yep. That's cool. And you're on LinkedIn too. I saw that we're connected on LinkedIn. I give you a shout out over there. And chicken or steak?
Oh, I love them both, but give me good steak. I can't say no.
The steak cheek meal. We got to do that. Laptop or a smartphone?
I use both.
Oh, man, my girl's just using them both. Right, I like this style. I like your style. I said I like both. Spotify or Pandora?
I don't have either, but there's a new podcast series on Spotify. I think I'm going to sign up so I can listen to it.
What is it? Which one is it? What are you trying to listen to?
I just saw it yesterday. It's Gimlet Media, and it's how to be better on podcasts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a master class with a guy who has tons of experience. I'm
going on a lot of podcasts too, folks, right now. So I'm going through the same experience you are and telling the story of who I am, the challenges I've gone through. And it's obviously a fun experience because you get to connect with the different hosts and, basically bring your fire to their show and hopefully that, you pick up some of the traction from their audiences and they want to follow you. And hopefully then obviously you do that so many times, folks, and it becomes, this is the new way to get in people's ears is through podcasts. Mm. So the way you get into people's minds is through their ears. And if they're doing something else, like a million different things that you can be doing, like I walk my daughter, for instance, folks, and go for a nice 30, 40-minute walk with a podcast in my ears or a audiobook in my ears. And I get to enjoy life and experience. And I sing along the way to her. And she doesn't know that I'm necessarily listening to a podcast. And I'm still aware, you know what I mean? As well as obviously when you're driving, when you're at the gym, you can listen to these things. So I think this is the future, folks. We're on the
That's
future.
awesome.
Listen to
I
the
love
future.
it.
Be Real Show is. It's been fun. It's been a 5-year experience here, and it's only going further, I think. So, movies or video games?
Movies for sure.
Reading books or listening to books?
I'll do both.
I like your style too on that one.
Yeah.
Stocks or real estate?
I got burned in real estate, Travis. So
Yeah.
I'm actually don't have, I have one little tiny house I'm selling. I'm
Mhm.
completely divested of real estate. So I am in the stock market. I know
Mhm.
many people do well in real estate, just not for me right now.
It's one of those things you have to still work at. It's like
You do.
the people that do well have good deal flow, and they have great teams to do the flips and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like they're working with their own team to do it all.
Yeah.
And instead of like people that just like decide that they want to do a flip for the first time, and then now you're getting contractors quoting you over this and that, and it doesn't get done in the right time. And so the guys that get it right, folks, just like any business, they spend a lot of time doing it. Don't
That's
forget
right.
that. There's no quick course to making millions. Unless you bought Bitcoin when it was 1 penny.
I wish.
Ocean, yeah, right. I got it when it was 250, and that was good. But I can only imagine some of these kids that got it when it was like in the dollars or pennies. Oceans or lakes?
I live near the Gulf. I'm in
Nice.
Florida, so I'm actually near a beautiful beach. I rarely go, which is terrible, but I love swimming in lakes. I grew
Oh,
up in
nice.
Michigan, and I here you can't swim in a lake in Florida. Well, you can, but there could be a gator swimming.
Yes, you got to
Don't
just be
swim
real
here.
aware. You got to be real aware when you're in Florida.
You got to be paying attention. So
Every time I go
swimming in
there,
lakes.
I always remember that when I see the pools, they all got gates on them and things like that, because you just never know when an alligator is going to pop up in your pool.
So true, so true.
Not California. You got to worry about different things, but not the alligator. You got to worry about like a mountain lion or something crazy. What's your biggest passion right now? What is at your heart? What is your biggest passion in 2020?
I am having so much fun working with entrepreneurs. And if I can support any number of entrepreneurs to help them be successful in their business, my life is good. So I just think it's the greatest mission on earth to help small business owners be successful.
Absolutely. And I think you explained so many different ways that we need this kind of credit, as well as maybe even need the line of financing, to make a deal happen, like you talked about in the earlier situation. I'm in a business where you can just bootstrap it, right? So,
Yep.
But if folks didn't have my personal finances right, I would be in trouble. So that's the truth. Is also, as your entrepreneur, you got to get your personal finances right, because we talked about it too. They reflect on your business. No matter what you want to say, they go both. You need both. You need good personal credit and you need good business credit. Bottom line.
Amen.
Yeah, let's bring it. When you wake up in the morning, why do you love being you?
I love helping people. So if I get a chance to help one person in a day, my day is happy.
You're a happy girl.
Yep.
I like your style. Do you think you'll ever retire?
I don't know. I could see maybe transitioning how much I work, but I love what I do. And I really do love what I do. So I do want to travel more. And I listened to your episode where you interviewed the guy who traveled for 27 months?
Yes. Yes. My man, Matt.
Yes, Matt. That's right. That was
him and his wife are crazy. It's an awesome experience to think about that.
Yes, it was very cool. And so I am working. I am working more travel into my life, and that makes me really happy too.
Good for you. Do you just like think about the things you want and then just write them down and then start exploring?
I do keep a list of different places that I'm interested in. I'm going to Italy in May, which
Ooh, I love Italy. Oh my God, I love Italy. Shoot, That's like my favorite place in the world. Rome? Are you going to go start in Rome?
I'm going to be in northern Italy.
Oh, northern Italy, okay.
Who moved there, yeah. But I hear everyone who's been there says it's fantastic. So I'm just
my dad loves northern Italy. He's like, he goes there like every year. He's like Florence and these different places. He finds all these different. Italy's one of those places, folks, where they just are so loving to the people that come there and tourism, because they know how big that is to their economy. And man, I can't tell you how many nice, people I've run across in my little journey in Italy. We went to Rome, Sorrento, Capri, Amalfi Coast, and then back to Rome for a few days. And it was crazy. And then honestly, on the craziest thing, Gerri, and we did not plan this, the last day we stayed there, it was Italian Independence Day. And our hotel was lined up with where everything was happening. And we literally saw everything. We were walking around checking out the Colosseum, as they're parading all their military, and I mean every branch of military, from paratroopers that were flying into every branch. They did like all their salutes and everything. It was crazy. I got the full Italian experience, folks. When you get to go on that Pride Day, which I forgot what day it is, but it was unbelievable. It was unfreaking believable. The culture
Sounds
is
amazing.
The culture is a crazy place. You'll love it. You're going to want to always go back there. How do you typically like to start your day?
Always with a cup of coffee. And
Nice.
if I'm really smart, I dive into something that I want to get done, just a short thing that makes me feel like I've accomplished something.
Right.
If I'm not smart and I'm having a slow morning, I'm not a morning person, then I might spend a little time checking out the news and catching up on what's going on. And then that's not the ideal way.
Right. Hey, everyone's different. Every day is different.
Right.
It's all about getting your mindset back. You know, now that I'm a dad, I have to always get my mindset, because my mornings, folks, 6 to 9 a.m., I spend with my daughter every single day. Every single day, 6 to 9 every morning. And then also other days, I'm spending the whole rest of the day with her. I do have sitters that come, for a few hours, but I'm spending the whole day with her. So there's certain days you're just like, dang, I have all these things I need to get accomplished and I don't get them accomplished, And like last night, I ended up working last night for an hour or so while I'm watching TV. So I end up having to work my pockets in now as a parent, because I'm never going to regret spending time with my daughter. So
You will not.
I know I'll regret if I don't. So I know, especially after we talked right now with the whole stuff that's happened with Kobe and how that's just changed a lot of guys' mindsets and girl dads, as well as just guys in general that are parents, is that time is precious, man. And so don't just rush to business. Make your life about your family and then let business happen around it, and that's one of my favorite things about being an entrepreneur is you can do that. So do you have a skill that this year you're trying to master, my friend? 2020, you're trying to master a new skill.
On my list, I would like to take an improv class because even though I'm comfortable with public speaking, the idea of improv terrifies me. Like I want to know what I'm going to talk about going into a room. So it's part of my, let's do things that scare me theme, and I'm going to do it.
You're going to do it. That's awesome.
Do it. Yeah.
I forgot I got to figure out what guest it was. Oh, Daniel Burris. He's if you look him up on LinkedIn, he's got millions of followers on LinkedIn. Daniel Burris, he's a futurist.
Okay.
He's a fascinating mind. And he challenged me, as well as maybe the guests, to pick a new skill each year. And so folks, you can do this just like my friend is there. Pick a new skill and work at it. Just do some improv gigs, spend, I would say an hour a week. Gigging, try to see if you can, see how it brings you. In 52 weeks, you're going to be a whole different type of girl up on that stage. You know what I mean? Right. Tell you straight up. Even me and my wife, we did a paint night last year. We started a paint night routine where we just watched the Art Sherpa on YouTube. We would drink some of our favorite drinks and we just enjoy a little paint night together. And my wife is much better than I am at art. However, I'm better than her at painting my own mind. Whatever I see in my mind, I can paint that. She can't do that as well. So we do some different things where we're following tutorials, but then sometimes my edge to beat her is to actually paint my own thing, So it's just fun. It's just a fun thing to do. But I think I shout out to you for doing that, because I think a lot of people in their day just go through the routine. So yeah, improv. My girl's going to be totally different girl in 2021. You're going to be like, watch out, folks. Watch out. Bring her. She's gonna be zinging you. She's gonna be zinging.
We'll see.
I like it. Hey, even just do it once and just see what happens. Do you have a favorite app that you like using on a daily basis?
I like the Focus Booster app. It's like a Pomodoro timer. You set it for 25 minutes to focus on a particular task, and then you get a built-in break. I set mine at 7 minutes. When I do use it, I find myself much more effective just because there's so many distractions. If I focus on something for 25 minutes, it's miraculous how much more I can get done.
Right. So it's like 25-minute counter, and then you get yourself a reward.
Yep. Get yourself a break and then go back into the next thing. And it also lets me keep track of what I've done so I can look at the week and say, oh, I spent that much time on that. We so often underestimate how long things are going to take.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so today for a steak dinner, if you could get anyone to come out to you there in Florida, who would it be? Who would you want to sit down with a steak dinner to right now tonight?
This is such a hard question for me. And, one thing I've discovered, Travis, is that there's so many interesting people with so many stories. Like just
Right.
talking to you now, listening about your credit. I want to interview you about your credit. Like, how did you do
Yeah.
that? How did you recover your credit?
My God.
I'm in Sarasota, Florida. We have a generally older demographic, but I've met absolutely. The other night I was at a dinner and there was the former head of the FDA and the former head
Wow.
of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. It
Wow.
blows my mind. And it was just a casual friends dinner. So I find a lot of value in just talking to people and find a lot of people have really, really interesting stories. But if I had to pick someone, I think I would pick Terry Gross because as the host of Fresh Air on NPR, she's really good at asking questions. And I would
Absolutely.
love to learn a little bit more about how she developed her skill of asking those questions, because then when I meet new people, I think I could learn a lot from them as well.
Right. And I just know after telling my story too, that I'm like, it pushes you just to be completely candid, And so like, that is the best story. There's no sugarcoating to it. It's like, this is what happened, folks. And so no matter what the situation is, because I personally have gone through many challenges. I've gone 17. I went through my body challenge where I basically was like almost 300 pounds and I changed my whole body to be a totally different person over 20 years. 27, went through a recession, lost my house, got my credit and finance all screwed up, and then got it all back at 37. 37, had a baby, and now running a business and try to be a pop entrepreneur and manage your time and skills and challenges of all that. And so there's different challenges I've had at every 10 years, crazily enough, Gerri. Every 10 years, I've had these different challenges that I stepped up and I took control of. But I'll tell you what, when asking questions, it's tough. So I think you're absolutely right about Terry. I think that to be able to like ask those candid questions, I think Joe Rogan does it real well too.
Yeah.
If you ever want to check his stuff out, obviously he's the most famous podcaster right now, but
yes,
he asks these great questions and has a dynamic conversation with people that it pulls out stuff that obviously he wasn't expecting, the guests weren't expecting, and it's all just conversations. So that's where becoming a podcast guest, you start to like try to be a better listener. And even though sometimes you want to interject and, but it's really about the guests. So I think it's fascinating. Yeah. NPR, they've done a great job for how many years now? Million, it seems like they've been one of the most legit, sources outside of all the other ones, which seem like they could be kind of politically charged different ways.
Right.
They kind of keep an unbiased view, and I always say that because my dad's a Republican and he listens to NPR. So he is an investor and he listens to NPR. He doesn't listen to anything else. Why does he listen to NPR? Because they have a lot of great guests and they kind of keep an unbiased viewpoint. It's not one way or the other.
Yeah, they do a good job.
So I think they've done a great job. Has there been a book that has changed your life?
Yes, there's been a few, but one that recently had an impact on me was Gretchen Rubin's book, The Four Tendencies. I'm not a big fan of most personality tests, but her test, which you can find online, The Four Tendencies, it identifies your personality type about how you approach things. I'm an obliger, which means I do really well when I have deadlines, when I have accountability. And even in that respect, like you talked about, transforming your health. For me, if I don't make an appointment to meet a friend at the gym or walk with a friend, I'm probably not going to do it. So I've learned how to structure things so that I have that accountability. That means I make things happen.
Right. That's awesome. We'll put that in the show notes too. And can you give our listeners one last real talk thought? Can you drop one last knowledge bomb on them today?
Yes. The most important thing when it comes to your credit is to start where you are and start right now. You're a perfect illustration of this. Even if your credit is terrible, there are steps you can take right now that over time are going to put you in a much, much better position for the future. And that's true of both personal credit and business credit. And as entrepreneurs, both are vitally important.
And where is usually the best place for people to connect to you on social or also learn more about NAV?
Well, you can certainly find my name if you can spell it, Gerri, not with a J or a Y. But you can also go to nav.com/podcast. So just nav.com/podcast. And there we have a free guide you can download. You don't have to give us an email or anything about how to build business credit. We have a coupon code if you want a free month of our paid accounts, but Our basic NAV account is free, and then more information about how to successfully grow your business.
Oh, nice. So that's nav.com/podcast. And we'll put that in the show notes. I want to say thank you so much for being on the show today, Gerri. I think you are just in a great place of enlightenment for the industry. I think there's a lot of businesses and small businesses and entrepreneurs that are maybe even they're not there yet, but they're getting their next step in and getting that check and starting the business. So you've given us a lot of great knowledge today. So I just want to give you a lot of credit for your experience and your expertise and giving even me, Mr. T. Huff, a little reason to get some business credit, folks. So even if you don't think you need business credit, now you probably maybe do. So I'm going to go check out nav.com right now and check and see, see what's going on out there. See what people are saying about my business first and see where we can go from there. So I just want to say thank you so much for being on the show today, folks. You've been hanging out with Gerri Detweiler and Travis Too Tall and Huff. Thanks again for your time today, folks. And let's keep being real. Right now, more than ever, folks, we need to work on our reputation for our businesses and get those reviews, get those positive reviews, get those positive recommendations on both on your social, but also to market on your website. And that is why you want to check out my business, folks, our software, realtimereputation.us. That's realtimereputation.us. Please check it out. It is literally the best thing that's ever happened to many of our campaigns, as that reviews bring together your social and digital campaigns. And the more positive reviews, as people are making those positive, decisions, they're looking at your, at your reviews. And so the more you can get, the better. And make it easy and automated with realtimereputation.us. Check us out. What another epic episode. And if you enjoyed the episode today, can you please do me a favor and subscribe to our podcast, The Be Real Show, on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform. And also take a little time today, if you don't mind, and give your boy T Huff a review. I would really super appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening today.